Cheap payroll services for freelancers and small businesses. Payroll services are perhaps one of the most daunting tasks for service professionals and small businesses. From palling around for work receipts, providing pay stubs, and then the actual paying. While the actual payment can be swift and harmless, the necessary documentation can be a hassle. This is a time-consuming task that has no business with service professionals and small businesses. However, sadly it is part of the job. Having a fundamental understanding of payroll services as a startup business or service professional will help you save costs and time processing one. Online payroll services make the time-consuming operation of conducting payroll on your own more efficient and faster. A simple payroll procedure is especially critical for small business owners who have no margin for mistake when it comes to paying their employees. As a result, small businesses demand a payroll solution with a good mix of features and a reasonable price. Payroll software for small businesses that is feature-rich and inexpensive makes payroll processing straightforward, but it is not as simple to quickly identify the correct choice for your company. Fortunately, these days, company owners have a variety of alternatives for low-cost payroll software that nevertheless makes it simple to handle taxes and benefits and pay employees on time. What is a payroll service provider? Payroll service providers, PSP, are third-party tools or companies with the responsibility to perform certain payment tasks for a business. These include the administration of payroll and employment task obligations. Payroll service providers typically offer the following services: prepare the paychecks for the employees of a business, put together pay stubs, create forms 940, 941, 1009, and employer's annual federal unemployment FUTA tax return, employer's quarterly federal tax return using the employer's IN for signature by the employer, file forms 940 and 941 using the employer's IN, make federal tax deposits and federal tax payments for the taxes reported on forms 940 and 941 using the employer's IN, prepare form W3. Transmittal of wage and tax statements, and file and furnish forms W2, wage and tax statement, for the employees of the employer, using the employer's IN. Types of payroll systems. Software-managed payroll systems. Software-managed payroll systems are one of the cheapest ways to create financial documentations. They are easy and quite fast to use with growing technologies. Websites like Paystubsnow help you create check stubs, 1099, invoices, and various other financial supporting documents without needing payroll service companies. However, using this method requires that you have a basic knowledge of payroll management. Typically, you will have to manually enter employee details into whichever payroll software you use. This will also require you to keep your record of employee details, such as hours logged, hourly rates, and others. Professionally managed payroll systems. Professionally managing your payroll system requires you to hire virtual bookkeepers or accountants. With service professionals out there, you can easily hire one on a contract basis. This is probably the second less expensive method for small businesses. This way, you only have to pay when you need the job done. If you do your books once a month, that would mean having to pay just once a month as well. Internally managed payroll systems. An internally managed payroll system is for small businesses with medium-sized employees. This method of payroll management is also sometimes combined with a software payroll system. Since the number of employees is mid-range, you can easily compile and create the necessary documentation yourself, while also relying on a few tools for creating invoices, pay stubs, and others. As a solopreneur, this is also one of the best methods for your business. You can generate unique and customized invoices, create pay stubs, 1099, and more all by yourself. Payroll services managed by payroll system agencies. This is typically the service hired by big companies for their payroll needs. These agencies cover everything from generating pay stubs, applying deductions, taxes, and paying employees. This is perhaps the most accurate form of payroll system, but also the most expensive by any standard. Should I hire payroll services? Hiring a payroll service can either be by hiring a payroll agency or an accountant. In both cases, your business has to be at a certain level. If you are a growing business with a sizable number of staff, hiring a payroll agency might prove useful if you don't mind the cost. However, if you are a small business with just yourself or fewer employees, hiring a payroll service isn't necessary. Simply use an internally managed system, software, or both. This will save you cost while also giving you optimal value. Selecting the most affordable payroll software for your company. Choosing economical payroll services begins with determining your company's payroll requirements, whether they are extensive tax support, QuickBooks integration, or anything in between. Once you've compiled a list, you may filter down the number of payroll software candidates to only those that fulfill all of your criteria, including a reasonable price range. This method can help you escape the trap of compromising function and service in exchange for a reduced price. Paying for payroll software that doesn't accomplish what you need it to do is simply a waste of money. How much is the cost of hiring payroll services? While there are a lot of variables to consider for the cost of hiring a payroll service, a few things are accurate, depending on your state of residence, the number of employees, payment frequency, and some other factors. Hiring a payroll company can cost anywhere between $25 minus $250 per month, considerably less when using software or internally generated service. Can I do payroll myself? The whole point of using internal or software payroll service is so you can make payroll services yourself. With service providers like Paystubsnow, creating supporting documents for payroll is as fast as it is easy. How do payroll services function? Businesses utilize payroll services or payroll software to automatically calculate and execute payroll. Typically, you will either set up an automated link with whatever system you use to collect your employees' time, or you will manually enter work hours into your payroll service each week. Based on the information you've entered about each employee, your application will calculate how much tax to withhold and how much to pay. If you have direct deposit for your employees, your payroll agency will execute a transfer from your bank account to theirs. At the end of the year, your payroll system will rapidly run the 1099 and W-2 forms for your employees and aid you in printing or giving secure access to these documents for your employees. This will save you endless hours of attempting to produce and distribute them to your staff before the deadline. Furthermore, utilizing the same software that you've been using to pay the employees all year assures that the figures match the money that has been transferred into their bank accounts. Is payroll service worth the money? If you have even one employee, these payroll services are usually worth the money because of the time and risk they will save small business. You could do this yourself if you are familiar with employment regulations, taxes, and accounting for your firm, but the potential expense and responsibility of missing deadlines or paying workers erroneously might wind up costing you much more than the cost of a basic payroll service or software. Other types of software may give payroll services as an add-on to a product you already own, but we still advocate hiring your own service provider. Add-ons often lack all of the features that distinguish the top payroll services, and they can cost the same as or more than those on this list. FAQ. Payroll meaning. Payroll is an accurate list of a company's employee database. This is a list of everyone in the company who gets paid. This can also mean the total amount a company pays out on a monthly, weekly, or bi-weekly basis. What is payroll processing? Payroll processing job is the process of calculating employee wages, deductions, delivering payments, and filing taxes. You can choose to do this manually through any of the payroll processing types. These include software, internal management, payroll service providers, and professional payroll management. Payroll services for small businesses. As a small business, you want to choose a payroll service that will save you cost, depending on your payroll. Manually creating one will be more financially wise. However, this method takes time. If you have a payroll of between 3 to 15 employees, using software or service providers such as Paystubsnow will be more effective.